So good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to the June New York Enterprise Technology Meetup. It's hard to believe, but this is actually the 6th month that we've been hosting the meetup here at Cooley, which they've been sponsoring. Over this time period, we've done monthly meetups and had 20 enterprise technology companies demo, had about 100 people come to an event, and the group has grown to be almost 700 members. So wow. I think that's a terrific statement of the New York enterprise technology ecosystem and how we're growing. What's really exciting news is just a couple weeks ago, as most of you have probably heard, Buddy Media was sold to Salesforce. Beyond being a great exit for an enterprise company, they were based out of New York. So I think that out of the meetup, what we want to really do is get inspired by this. And in this room, we have a mix of technologists, investors, entrepreneurs, students. Make sure over the course of the evening, beyond learning about the new technologies that are presented, meet people around you. Potentially, if you're working for a startup or interested in a startup, or maybe a little bit of a larger company, just definitely meet people and learn about the enterprise tech ecosystem. I'd like to thank Cooley, and Kim will be talking a little bit about what services they offer. They've been gracious enough to sponsor the meetup since we launched in January. They provide the beer, which is going fast, the wine, the drinks, the food. So really, let's give a round of applause to Cooley for that. And this is also a lot of work to put together, so I'd also like to thank the team that helps. We have Ruby Gotti in the back, as well as Ian Ellis. And a new feature that actually we're starting just this month is, you'll notice in the back there's a video recorder, so I'd like to thank our member David Raviv, for he's going to start video recording all the sessions, and that way if there's a demo you want to rewatch, or if maybe you missed a session, we'll have that online and you'll be able to view it. So before we begin, there's just 2 quick announcements. First of all, take out your phones and tweet. The hashtag is NYETM. If there's anything interesting, any questions, we'll be monitoring that and be sure to respond to that. Secondly, if you work for a startup and you're interested in demoing in the future, please see me, Ruby, or Ian, and we can explain basically what it entails. But basically, what we'll recommend is you go to our website at nyetm.com. We have an application form. It's a simple Google Doc that we get some information from you guys, and then the team reviews it. So without further ado, I'd like to call up Panorama. So Panorama has led the innovation and creation of a new generation of BI 3.0 solutions. BI 3.0 provides 3 unique concepts unmet in the market today: social decision-making, automated relevant insights, and self-service, which help decision makers make faster and accurate business decisions.
Thank you, John. That just about sums it up. You're doing a great job with this meetup, really. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. So we'll jump right in. We don't have much time, and I want to definitely keep it open for questions. And obviously, I want to get your feedback and network with you afterwards, so I'll be around. My name is Jim Beeks. I'm a regional director with Panorama. And what we're going to talk about, social enterprise is a word that we've all heard a lot about, and whenever there's a buzzword out there, everybody tries to kind of glom onto it and follow it. So what's it have to do with BI 3.0? We think that BI and social enterprise are really a natural fit. There's a lot of opportunities as well as challenges for business intelligence when it comes to looking at the way the social enterprise is evolving. So I'll talk a little bit about traditional BI, but I'll spend more time on where we are today and where we think we're going. But we've been around for about 20 years, and actually, this isn't the first time we've started a revolution. Back in the 90s, we created a product that was called Analysis Services that was eventually sold to Microsoft. So we've been partnering with Microsoft for a long time. Analysis Services is an important part of their BI stack, and we're really integrated nicely into them as well as some other platforms that I'm sure all of you are pretty familiar with, SQL and Oracle, and we can talk more about that. But traditional BI is the picture here kind of a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So if anybody has worked on reporting or had people kind of asking them about reports or dashboards or things like that in their organizations, you find yourself in this kind of situation fairly often, which is this bottleneck where IT or power analysts or power users tend to be stuck trying to deliver reports for either clients or for management. We think that the new technologies that have happened, as well as the whole social enterprise paradigm shift, opens up a whole new way of thinking about business intelligence, reporting, dashboards, all of these traditional things that we think of in BI. this quote. I try to use it whenever I can. Pretty self-explanatory. Yes, we have the data, but we do not have the information. This is becoming more and more of a challenge as we enter this era of big data, right? So there's a lot of ways that people define big data. One of the ways that I say is that, hey, it's just a lot more data than we had 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So 5 years from now, we'll probably have somewhere around 8 to 12 times as much data in our data warehouses, in our organizations. And the question is, how do we really leverage that? I like to look at a company like, or a technology like a Facebook. Right? It's not really a business application, but there's a lot of people and a lot of information that happens in that community, and decisions are made in that community. So organizations are going to have to deal with that type of decision-making process as well as a lot more data than they're used to having today. BI continues to be at the top of the list for CIOs. About 50% of the companies out there are realizing that we have this kind of data challenge, and how are we going to give this data to people to make decisions on? Because if it's just sitting in the data warehouse or it's just sitting in the organization, it's not very valuable. The whole point is that we're supposed to be able to use this information to make better decisions, to make our lives easier, right? One of the things that I found interesting was a quote by Gartner, where they're saying actually, about 15 to 20% of the deployments with business intelligence over the next couple of years are going to start to leverage social and collaborative capabilities. We'll talk about that. So when we think of traditional business intelligence, there's a couple of reasons why they really do not meet, these tools do not meet the promise of what the value that we've talked about for years here. This has been going on, I'd say, probably for about 10 years. The first thing is IT and analysts are swamped with requests to generate reports. So some of you who aren't as kind of up to speed on what business intelligence and reporting is all about, you can think of a credit card company that collects lots of information about us every day. I went down to Orlando for a business conference, and I got a credit, like 2 or 3 credit card offers for, when I bought the tickets with my Chase card, I got 2 or 3 credit card offers for a Disney credit card with all these discounts. My son's only 5 months old, so I really couldn't use those, but that was an attempt to use all this information to make better decisions and make my life easier, right? Make my life harder, because I just throw that away with value. But the way that's traditionally done is IT and analysts are saying, hey, go look at all this data, all these purchases that Jim has done over the last couple of years, and let's try to make some decisions based on that, right? So they create reports, they do all kinds of stuff, put it into portals. Very time consuming. If you have one of those jobs, well, they make good money, but it's very difficult. Tools are too complicated to use. One of the responses to the fact that this is very challenging is that these analysts try to push these decisions and these tools out to the business community. That's been very difficult because business users are used to using Excel. They really want to use these tools. And lastly, insights get lost outside the BI system. We'll talk about what that means. I'm kind of jumping into this because I want to get to the demo. But if you look at a traditional enterprise, the traditional technology that we use to communicate and collaborate have changed. Most of you probably have seen whether it's Salesforce, Chatter, whether it's WebEx, whether it's Jive. We all know that we're changing the way we communicate and collaborate. With Panorama's product, Necto, there's 4 pillars. Self-service is the main thing. Everybody's got to be able to use it. There's no Facebook for Dummies manual as far as I'm concerned, right? As far as I've seen. Anybody can sign on and use it. That's how business tools really should be in the future. And we think we've cracked that code on this. Second, you still have to have advanced analytics. So when power users go into a system, they should be able to still do some of the advanced analytics that they're used to doing, creating Black-Scholes formulas or whatever they need. Contextual discovery is really what Amazon and places like Netflix have done, right? They've gone out and said, hey, if you're going to use our service on a regular basis, we're going to get the technology working for you. So we'll send you recommendations and things of that nature. So that I want my business tools to do the same thing. And lastly, it's got to be social. There's got to be ways that I can collaborate and communicate around that data. We'll do a quick demo. This is all web-based. So when I talk about self-service, the first thing is everything has to be web-based. I would hold all technology companies to that standard, right? So a lot of people say, well, we have these complex systems and everything else. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's all going to be web-based, it's all going to be cloud, etc., right? So organizations really are looking to move things to a simple model that's web-based. And any user can use it. That's the first thing. And everything here is web-based. Typically in this environment, power users will use a desktop version installed on the machine, etc. Okay? Second thing is the idea of relevancy that I talked about. So much like if I went to Amazon and I was buying folks, they make recommendations to me. Here, my engine is going to make recommendations to me about business data. I'm just going to open this up so you can see what we're dealing with here. Part of the reason I like to do this is because I'm not the technical guy, but I like to show that a business user, sales guy can do this himself. So I've pulled up what we believe is the BI 3.0 workboard of the future. It's a combination of not only your traditional kind of grids and graphs, dashboards, KPIs, but also discussions that happen around data. So what I can do within this environment is I can very easily start to have a discussion around the data. And when I talk about BI insights being lost outside of the system, what that really means is that if I go in here and I say, hey, computers are much lower in Europe than they are in North America, who do I talk to about that? Well, the first thing is the system is going to serve up all the people that are interested in that data. Either they've liked it, their friends have liked it, or they've searched through the data like this in the past. So now I can see, okay, these are the 14 people who are working with this workboard with this data. I can grab your own. I can pull your own onto this European data set, and I can start a discussion. Okay. Now, this information can be linked to other internal portals that one might have. If you're using Yammer or something like that, and you have SharePoint, we can link this right in. So that means it goes into SharePoint, or into their Yammer, it's going through it, and they click on it, it brings them over to the data. So it's a way to take the business data and combine it with some of the social activities that are happening in the organization. A couple other things I'll show you that we think are pretty interesting. If I want to do any design work within this, that's been one of the challenges traditionally. All I do is I hit this little pencil here and I can start designing things. So I can pull over here, this little hotspot pulls up. Once again, we do not have the 4 dummies manual with our software. We think that we should be able to use it without a lot of training. Something that we should be able to do very quickly. I can delete things. Now, the last thing I want to show you before I open it up for questions is there's a lot of one-click insights. So typically business users have different challenges than, let's say, an IT user. So a business user might have a meeting at 8 o'clock this evening with their manager. And the manager says, hey, I've got some questions about what's happening with the sales figures, right? So the first thing is if I signed on to the system as a business user, I'm only signing on to it, let's say, a couple times a week. I'm not really familiar with how to do all the various manipulations here. There's a lot of easy ways to put what we call one-click insights into the system. So here I'm just saying, okay, what went down by more than 11%? I see that computers went down by, as that little arrow shows up, by 17%. Click on that, say give me a cause and effect. The system is now generating queries going into the data and it's starting to work for me. So now while I go get a cup of coffee, getting prepared for my meeting this evening, the system is going to come back and give me some suggestions on what I might want to be talking to my boss about.